Welcome to Chronicles of the Cloudsea. So we'll do a recap of what happened without spoiling the story from session 3 for you. We'll just recap session 2 again. When you last played, a attack began on Windswept Port Town. Preceding the attack, there was a large snake that downed the Infernal Zeppelin out over the clouds south of Windswept Port Town. At which point the Aarakocra monk, Urus, flew down and summoned Strigan the Owl, which scared the snake away. From there, several more airships pierced through the clouds and started unloading creatures across the city. So you made your way with Kate and Norin to the beach, where in front of the shipyard, you battled Azur as well as some amphibious creatures, and Alisaria and Adi were battling some devilish-looking big guys. But you saved a bunch of villagers and Cloudforged. Unfortunately, the shipyard burned down, at which point Jazz came along, and the four of you, I believe, with Jazz, Alisaria, and Adi stayed behind. You went from there to the Quayside Wharf, and you battled imps as well as watched a couple townspeople get ferried away by flying devil creatures. And those townspeople that you recognize, well, one was your companion, Malia, and when she was captured, Jazz flew away with her. Aside from her, Miss Billy McMurray was flown away as well. And sorry, I forgot, on the previous map, you watched Elder Benson get taken as well. So this is where the session ended. At the beginning of the next session, we decided Sije would fly off after Jazz. As Sije, you look up to the sky and you see your friend being captured with Jazz following her. And you say, "See ya guys, I'm off to help my friends." And you fly away. So you guys were roughly here. That's where you were battling. Okay. Now that you're above the building line, you see Jazz kind of flying in this direction, and you're surprised to see he has wings, angelic wings. You also see a battle surrounding the town, basically. There are skiffs carrying monsters, and you see spears flying off of them at the ground, aiming for townspeople and adventurers alike. You also see many flying creatures that don't look too good. They're carrying villagers off in nets, off in the direction of that Jazz is flying. You actually see one of the infernal brigantines. You see one of them turning around. I would say it's about 500 feet in the air, and it's turning around to double back over the town. Out of it, you see enormous wings flapping, and they flap once, twice, and a very large creature who you look at and you say, this is one big bad evil guy. He has horns, he is red-skinned, and he has very large wings, and he himself is super large, but he is flying around the front of the ship. As he does so, you see a bay door open up underneath the ship, and out drops a cage with a chain attached to it right over this area. Jazz kind of turns more in this direction, and you see Malia is being carried off towards a small infernal skiff, and there's a bunch of creatures on top. But yeah, with that being said, do you wish to follow? Now, the big guy is in this direction. Jazz is flying in this direction after Malia.
I'm gonna follow Jazz.
You fly in that direction, and quickly roll a perception check. Oof. At the last moment, you notice a spear flying out of the corner of your eye, and it impacts against your breastplate, and ding, it kind of just ricochets off and falls to the ground. But you see that it's actually coming from the skiff that Jazz is flying towards. And on top of it, you see 5 of those amphibious creatures, and the winged devil or fiend that was carrying Malia in the net has now landed on that skiff, and Jazz is flying in front of it. So you fly up as well, and you're coming up from underneath. So it will be starting with Jazz. You look over to your right and you see that he's closed his eyes. A faint radiant glow is emanating around him. accentuating around his sword. He is praying for divine favor, which he is going to use. He is going to attack this creature with his longsword. And he is actually gonna miss, unfortunately. So he takes a swing, but he's a little too high with, he's still flying, so he just overshoots the creature. And we're gonna go to Malia next. So she is actually going to cast a spell. You see her close her eyes and she is focusing on something, but a red aura glows around her and you actually feel a little bit stronger. She's going to cast Bless on the three of you. Basically, you get an extra D4 on your attack or saving throw rolls. So you're more likely to dodge or attack. So monster 2 is this guy. He's just gonna kind of laugh and snarl. He's going to keep his distance, but he is going to flick his tail at you, which I believe that misses. A spine shoots off of his tail and it ricochets off of your breastplate. And as it does so, you actually feel a little ember of flame snuff out, but it is now your turn.
I kind of want to fly over and land right on this guy.
Yeah, so unfortunately you try to disable the creature, but you do miss. Regardless of that, you are in attack range. You're flying 5 feet above the creature, I'll say. Or, well, we'll say more like 7 or 8, but you're still in like the 5-foot aura. You can be free to attack now if you wish.
Okay, I'm going to do Shield of Faith as my bonus action on myself.
And then attack?
Yeah, and then attack.
So do you want to attack the guy holding Malia?
Is she still in a net or?
Yes, she is in a net.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing at him.
So roll for attack. So that is definitely gonna hit. You can roll for damage.
7 points of bludgeoning.
Yeah, so you pull back your flail and you twirl it around before swinging it against the cheek of the creature who he gets smacked right in the cheek. He is looking at you with an evil glare. So now it is the other monster's turn. Okay, so this one, it looks at you and you notice its chest is like rippling and swelling up and something explodes out of its chest and the creature falls backwards while this all happens. Well, now this guy he's not doing too well. You see this creature explode out of this thing's chest and it is, well, it's kind of cute, but it's basically a blue tadpole looking thing. It's just looking at you with adorable big black eyes. It's covered in green goop. Meanwhile, this guy right here, you look over your shoulder because you hear something rippling there too. And you look at his shoulders and 2 wings actually explode out of his shoulders. And he is now a flying amphibious creature of some kind.
Oh, damn.
And over here, the same thing happens to these 2 guys. And this one, something a little bit different happens with this one. This one wing pops out of his shoulder, another one pops out of his knee, but otherwise, he's another flying creature now. This one here is going to try to attack you. I believe they'll all get advantage. That's the first one. He misses with his spear, but he's going to take a bite out of you. And those also miss. Chomping and slashing at air. The second one misses his spear slash as well. That one does hit with a bite. Okay. So that's going to do 5 damage. And the third one's going to try to attack. With the spear, he misses. Meanwhile, this last one is going to fly around. The one with the weird wing situation is going to fly around. He's going to try to flank Jazz. He makes an attack at Jazz with his spear and actually does hit for 3 damage. And then he's also going to attack biting, flying really crookedly in front of Jazz. It makes a stab at Jazz's oblique with his spear, pierces in between the armor. You see a little bit of blood trickle out of the corner of your eye, and then it follows up with a bite to the other side, and the creature's teeth basically make scratch marks against the arm of Jazz's opposite side. Jazz takes 7 points of damage total. It's actually his turn now. He's going to attack this dude in between the 2 of you.
Okay.
So yeah, Jazz swings at the thing with his longsword, but we'll say he's a little bit distracted because of Malia being captured. Regardless, it is now Malia's turn. She is glowing something fierce. She does some hand gestures from under the net. The net recoils a little bit as she does so. With a final spark, she holds out both of her hands. 8 orbs come flying out of her hands. They're actually all going to hit this creature right here to the northwest of Sije. One after another, each of them just hits into the creature's chest until the creature flaps its wings, stumbling over the edge. Well, it falls to its death. She's pretty badass, actually. It is now this monster's turn, the one that you tried to stomp on. He's actually going to disengage from you. He's going to start flying away. We'll actually say he's off the map at this point. So he's flying above the city. Meanwhile, this creature's just flopping around. It is now your turn, but I'm just going to quickly describe what you see when you look off in the direction the creature is flying. You see it flying towards another one of the brigantines that is heading actually in the direction you just came from.
Okay, I'm gonna hit the one that Jazz has been trying to hit.
You twirl your flail around and you smack this thing in the back of the head.
Yeah.
It snarls and darts its head around like with a jerky motion, and it's eyeing you up. It is now the other creature's turns. The one that's to your southeast is going to try to attack you, and similarly, they all get multiple attacks as well. So they're going to first attack with the spear, missing, and then attack with a bite, chomping in front of you. Its breath smells awful, like rotting fish. Yeah. The other two are going to continue trying to flank attack Jazz, because that is honestly the better strategy. First one is going to miss its spear attack and its bite attack. The second one is similarly going to miss his spear attack.
Oh, God.
And miss both of its attempts at a bite attack. So these things are just snapping back and forth at Jazz as he's in between them, holding his arm up to fend one off and brandishing his sword in front of the other. Nevertheless, neither of them managed to hit him. But it is now the weird creature's turn, and it's just like, ah! And it hops off the boat and gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it disappears onto the ground. And who knows what happened to that thing. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite you. Yeah, it is now out of combat.
Oh my God.
It is now Jazz again. He is going to try to attack the one in between you guys. And this time he's going to hit.
Woohoo! Jazz, you can do it.
And he makes a heavy sigh as he finally buckles down. He is going to focus on just dealing as much damage as possible to this guy. And he actually pulls back his long sword and he slashes across the creature's chest. A bloody ichor starts to stream out of his chest where the creature was gashed, and it takes a decent amount of damage. And it is back to you because the other two are out of combat now.
So I kind of want to taunt the creature that's in front of me, the one that me and Jazz just teamed up on, but I kind of want to comedically miss him and then hit the guy next to him.
Oh yeah,
in the face. So I kind of want to like not hit him, but like comedically hit the guy next to him in the face.
Yeah, you are glaring at this creature in front of you. You know it's not looking good for this guy, and you start spinning your flail slowly, picking up speed, and you take a very honest attempt to knock this thing's block off of its shoulders, basically. It just kind of ducks out of the way, and you instead hit the creature next to it.
Does Jazz see this?
Yeah, Jazz kind of gives you a single eyebrow raise, a la Dwayne Johnson, kind of like blinks. He's
getting warmed up.
Yeah, he's kind of quiet though. He's stoic and silent in most cases. But regardless, it is now the monster's turns again. So it does 28 points of damage. Which is actually going to put Jazz into unconsciousness.
No.
Yep. So he flops over onto the deck, but it is now the remaining creature's turn. He's going to maneuver around to flank you without disengaging, and he is going to try to attack you. Ooh, the spear hits with a crit. So that's going to do 5 damage total to you. Jazz is going to do a death saving throw, and he succeeds.
Woohoo!
It is now going to go back to you.
I guess I'm just gonna finish off this one.
Go for it. You can still get your flank too on that one.
Nice. It's okay, Jazz. You're still helping. Oh shit.
Similarly, you just kind of recoil after your last attack, and you spin your flail straight into the back of the creature's head, and you feel the bottom portion of the anvil, like the brick part of the anvil, crunch into the back of the creature's head. Its arms and wings go limp as it flops over forward and falls off of the side of the deck. It is now dead, but it's going to be the creatures again. And with Jazz incapacitated, they're both going to turn their eyes on you, and they're going to try to flank you. First one misses his spear attacks.
Oh.
And also his bite attacks. We're just going to roll to see if that one's a death. It doesn't kill itself or damage itself. Second one's going to attempt to attack you as well. Straight up misses. So yeah, these things, similarly to earlier when Jazz was fending the 2 off, you're doing the same thing. They're the one in front of you is trying to bite past your shield. It can't seem to reach its spear around, while the one behind you're just fending them off with your flail. But regardless, it is now your turn again.
I'm gonna hit the one that has the crooked wing pattern.
You can still get advantage because Jazz still counts.
Oh shit.
Oh, nice. As you do 3 points of damage. So it is back to the monsters' turns, and they are going to try to flank attack you again, which they can only succeed on a crit. It's not too bad for you. And they both miss both times. So you just continue fending them both off. You are a tank at this point.
I am. I love this spell so much. And it goes for 10 minutes, so yeah. I'm good.
Yeah. Ooh,
okay,
nice.
Better.
That's a really good hit. You take a swing at this thing, and your anvil crunches into its chest, and you feel like you indented some of the ribs, maybe cracking them a little bit, and you look up at the creature. It's still flapping its disjointed wings. One at the knee is kind of struggling to keep it up, but it's still flapping aloft. Sorry, I got to do Jazz's saving throw real quick. Oh boy, 2 fails.
Oh God.
So yeah, he's actually coughing up blood at this point. Otherwise, it is now the creature's turns. So they are going to just continue as they were. Okay, that one's a hit. So could you do a concentration throw, which you maintain your concentration, but the creature is still going to damage you. That was one of the spear attacks. So it actually does 5 points of damage as it actually makes it past your shield this time and nicks you in between the plates of your armor. And Jazz is hopefully not going to die. Okay, Jazz dies.
No.
As he does so, a radiant aura pierces the sky. You see Jazz enveloped in a radiant glow as he stands back to his feet, and his angelic wings look almost as if they're a part of him. His eyes are glowing white. You get the sense that there's more to Jazz than you ever predicted. Well, he is doing pretty damn good, to be honest. But he is going to rejoin the fight and actually start attacking or trying to attack the dude in front of you guys. This guy you knew pretty much your whole life. Turns out he's got some secrets up his sleeve. But he still sucks at doing successful attack rolls. As menacingly awesome as he appears right now, covered in a white aura, he is almost too careless as he flicks his wrist and misses the creature. It is now your turn. It's like, what the hell is this guy?
Like, oh my God, he's fine. He's so good. Misses. God damn it.
Fingers crossed for this second throw.
Yeah, I'm finishing up this dude. You're going down, man. Never mind, you're not.
Oh boy. Unfortunately, the two of you seem to have met your match with these gross flying amphibians. As they just weave in and out of your attacks simultaneously. But this guy is a little miffed that Jazz is back from the dead, so he's actually not going to attack you with advantage. He's going to turn around and try to attack Jazz. So it misses its spear attack and its bite attack. But the other one is going to attempt to continue attacking you. Both attacks miss. You now turn your attention to that one and hold your shield in between you and that creature. Regardless, it's actually Jazz again. Dude just comes back from the fucking dead.
And misses.
But he's not going to miss this time. So he's actually going to do quite a bit of damage probably. Wait till you see his damage dice here. So
don't die again.
He pulls back and slashes at this creature. Green ichorous blood erupts from its chest and then bursts into glowing magical energy as the creature almost fizzles to death, consumed by radiant energy, and plops dead on the floorboards in front of you. And Jazz is then going to swoop all the way around and set you up for a flanking attack on the remaining creature.
I mean, he's just tired from carrying. So.
Yeah.
He's really tired from carrying.
Yeah. You're
Jazz, you pull your weight now.
Yeah, you're exhausted as this thing just maneuvers in and out of your attacks. He's growling at you, but he is going to actually try to attack you, which probably won't work in his favor, but he's going to try anyways. And both attacks are going to miss. Jazz will get his chance to potentially carry again. He slashes at the creature from attacking its back. You can't see the wound, but you do see the energy erupting from this creature's body. It starts to cough out radiant energy out of its lungs. It stumbles over the side of the deck. As it does so, it falls, but you see the creature that died from the chest bursting, shivering. Nothing actually happens, but it is now your turn.
I'm going to throw that body over the edge.
Let's have you do an athletics check.
All right, I'm actually good at that. 19, okay.
Okay, sweet. So you succeed. As you pick this thing up, you feel its body rippling, and it's kind of jerking around as it does so, and you toss him over the edge, and he falls away. Which
You're someone else's problem now.
Yeah, which I will say is probably a good idea. Okay, so you are now out of combat. Amidst the clouds, you look over to Jazz, who the glowing aura around him dissipates. He looks off to the north, and you see the creature carrying Malia actually lands on an infernal brigantine about 100 feet to the north. It's a little bit of an ascent above you. He looks at you discerningly and looks over at the ship, and he starts flapping his wings in that direction. So what do you want to do? In for a penny, in for a pound, or...
I was wondering if I could ask him where the other ones are.
Like the other captured people, or the
other people of our group.
Oh, Ezza specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. Do you want to fly up next to him while you do so?
Yes.
So you won't have to shout in that case. So yeah, say your bit.
Jazz, by any chance, have you seen Ezza?
Oh yes. As a matter of fact, when we separated. When I joined you at the beach by the shipyard, you look down below and you see the shipyard has erupted in flame. In any case, he was fending off some of the attackers as I came to join you, but I haven't seen him since. And I can give you, I'll give you a map of you and you can see where he was pointing to. So this is where he pointed to when he joined you, and when he separated from Ezza was over there.
Okay.
And you guys are currently up here about a few hundred feet in the air. And the brigantine in front of you is roughly that far, and it's headed towards this area where the other brigantine is kind of hovering above that, or one of the other brigantines. Just to remind you, there were 3 brigs total.
Right. I mean, do I want to leave the guy that just got down and then came back up and missed? Oh god.
You could go back and deal with him if you want. You can also meta tip. You could do lay on hands on yourself as well to heal the damage you took.
Yeah, I was thinking of healing us both if I was able to, but I don't know if he has like full health now.
So you lay your hands on Jazz, and you actually feel that he's totally fine.
Okay, then yeah, I'll just use it on me.
I think you had 15 charges.
Yeah.
So you could bring yourself up to full health if you wanted.
I think I'll leave myself with 5 charges, so I'll do 10.
So you'll bring yourself to 24? So did you want to double back and deal with this dude on the deck?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I want to throw him off my thing because I want to take this ship.
Okay, so you can do that. This one, he's totally incapacitated and prone. He's not, whatever was happening to that other guy is not happening to this one. So yeah, you hop onto the helm of this thing and you start maneuvering, you start trying to spin it around. You see smoke coming out from underneath, but you actually do regain control of it and you steer it. Did you want to steer it towards the brig?
Which direction is that one again?
North.
North. Is that where Jazz is going?
Yeah, it's like north-northwest, basically. So mostly north.
I got a plan. I'm gonna tell Jazz we're gonna crash this thing into the brig.
I was kind of hoping you would do that. Jazz looks over his shoulder and nods at you as he points up, signaling that he's going to ascend even higher. And he does so. He ascends another 100 feet. So he is now about 50 feet above the plane of where the brig is. And you're about 50 feet below. But if you want to try to make a ramming maneuver, you can definitely do that. You will have to do another air vehicle check. But you do get the extra D4, and you will unfortunately roll with disadvantage.
All right. Yeah, we'll do that.
You hold fast as you look towards the brig ahead of you, and you start pulling all sorts of levers. Roll for it.
6. Fuck.
Ooh, damn. So you start maneuvering towards it. We will say you're already heading towards it, but you're off by just a little bit. You start pulling all sorts of levers and trying to stabilize the thing, but it kind of seems to be just going in a straight direction. You pick up speed in any case as you start to approach the brig. It looks like you're going to do a flyby, clipping one of the guard railings. And as you do so, you approach. You're about 20 feet away from the brig. So what do you do at this point in time? And we'll say down below, you see few creatures, actually less than you would have suspected. We'll say you can do insight check, actually, if you want to.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. 21.
Okay, so you gather, looking across the deck, you actually think it makes sense that the deck is fairly empty because you saw lots of creatures disembarking from the ships and going down to raid the town. So it seems like just a crew is left aboard to maintain the ship, but it's not, they're not expecting to get attacked back, basically. Okay, you see the deck of the ship like Ooh. So. Yeah, there are a couple of those blobby-like creatures you saw down at the armory, as well as there seems to be a captain steering the ship, and Malia and that other fiendish creature are surrounded by those two blob-looking things, basically. You are approaching one of the guard railings as the skiff is about to do a flyby, and it looks like it's going to clip right here on the ship. So what are you doing as you approach 20 feet away?
I'm going to get this little boat in position to ram it again.
We'll do a few things then in that case. So the skiff rather, flies towards the brig and it clips this part right here. You see blackened wood flying in the spot that it impacts, hitting the guard railings. It continues on that trajectory, basically also clipping this mast here. As soon as it does so, the smoke starts erupting from the skiff that you are now boarding, or aboard rather. You will have to do a dex check for this. We'll say actually an acrobatics check to maintain balance. And you do get the extra D4. Nice. So you do maintain your balance. The ship clips the mast. The mast doesn't actually break, but the trajectory of the skiff you're on goes, it starts to go off the other side of the ship, clipping one of the guard railings there as well. But it is now on a downward trajectory, and smoke is pluming out of the bow of the ship, or of the skiff rather. And we'll say Jazz is actually going to enter the map here too. So you look over your shoulder as you do all of this, and Jazz is flapping his wings just above you and the ship, a big ship, about 50 feet.
Is it possible to turn the skiff around?
You take a look at the skiff, and it took a lot of damage doing that maneuver, so it looks like it is about to go into a nosedive, basically.
I'm just gonna start yelling, "Abandoned ship!" and use my wings to fly out.
Okay, sweet. So do you want to jump onto the battlefield? And if so, do you want to land on the deck or fly above it?
I'm just gonna land. I'll land on it.
And where roughly, I'll put your token here, but in relationship to that spot, where would you like to land?
I'm gonna land right there.
Cool. So you land there. Roll for initiative. And meanwhile, I'm going to get the others to roll. Oh, nice.
Oh, God. I don't know if I should be happy or not, because that's going to be like my only critical for this entire thing. Damn it. Shit. Oh well.
We are going to start battle. You are going to go first. Yeah, so you get to start first.
I'm going to look at the wolf, just smirk at it and be like, on guard, as I try to bash him with my flail.
Okay, do your attack roll. So you're going to hit. You can roll for damage. You start spinning your flail around, and you actually go for an uppercut, and crack, you hit the thing in the jaw, and one of its teeth flies out. Surprisingly, the tooth bursts into flame as it flies out of the creature's mouth.
Damn, no souvenir.
So the creature in front of you snarls as he is going to disengage. He's going to take a step back. He actually is going to fly over to this trap door here and open it, and he's going to throw Malia underneath and slam the door shut. And that is his turn. Jazz is pretty nonplussed by this, so he's going to fly over there and try to deal with that thing with his longsword. He takes a swipe on angelic glow emanating from around him, and he misses.
Not again.
Meanwhile, Malia's already out of combat. The captain just kind of roars something in an unfamiliar language to you. It kind of sounds a little bit like he's barking orders at the two down here. Regardless, they're going to walk underneath you, and you are going to have to make 2 Constitution saving throws. You see a cloud emanating from these creatures as they walk towards you, rippling out from under their flab. It is like an aura of stench, which you can smell it, but you're able to pierce through your tears to keep your concentration in check. It doesn't actually mess with you, luckily, but they are going to attempt to attack you. The first one is going to hit and crit for 9 damage. His head kind of flops forward and back. It's almost as if it's not being held together by anything. It just lunges jerkily forward to you and bites you in the neck, piercing you for 9 points of damage. Almost like, you know how wacky inflatable arm flailing tube men flop back and forth. It's kind of like that, except blood is kind of a fluid is dripping from its fangs where it bit you.
So if I go up here, would they be able to follow me or no?
They will get attacks of opportunity.
I guess I'll just disengage and go there if I can.
You can definitely do that. Kind of just setting Jazz up for a flank, I guess.
Yeah.
It's this guy's turn now. He's similarly to Jazz. He's not looking too happy. He's miffed, nonplussed. He's going to take a lash at you with his tail. That is going to miss, but he's going to follow through with a bite, which is also going to miss. But Jazz is going to take this opportunity to try to flank him. Okay, so Jazz doesn't die. But he does miss. Man, he is just off. It's almost like he's too cocky at this point with whatever happened to him back at the skiff that brought him back to life has gone to his head. In any case, he misses. And we're back to the captain. He is actually going to keep steering the ship, and he's yelling. That's as far as that one can move. The first one is going to hit you. Basically, the cloud, it causes your eyes to water as this stench overcomes your senses. So it is actually going to do damage to you. So this is going to do acid damage. It's going to do 5 points of acid.
Okay.
So your eyes are watering as it walks towards you. It's burning your skin. But he's going to attempt to attack you and miss. Meanwhile, the second one, its acid is going to go for Jazz, and it damages him. And you look over at Jazz and you can kind of see it burning into his cheeks a little bit. He actually seems okay. So that is their turns. It is you again.
Yeah, I'm just going to finish off this flying fiend.
You pull back your flail and you start spinning it. You crack this thing in the cheek. It almost stumbles over, but you look into its eyes and you see the flame in its eyes are starting to dull out as this thing is hanging on by a thread. Otherwise, it is still alive. He's actually going to disengage from you guys and fly over here and up about 20 feet. And that's going to be his turn. Jazz, in the meantime, he's going to flank this creature along with you.
Oh, you did it, Jazz.
He pulls back his glowing sword and slashes against this thing. Red ichor starts to spill out alongside of blood, which isn't red, but rather purple. And the two liquids are mixing interchangeably with one another, creating a kaleidoscope of goop.
Ooh, pretty.
It is now the captain's turn. He is now looking over at the flying fiend. He tosses something over to the fiend, who, well, you don't see what it is, but you see that he takes a bite of it. That is the captain's turn. He's still steering the ship, rather. So blob thing number 1 is going to try to attack you, and he's going to miss superbly. The second one is going to try to attack Jazz, and he is going to hit superbly.
Oh, God.
But Jazz doesn't seem too bad. So he takes a bite out of Jazz. He does break the skin, and Jazz is continuing to bleed a little bit. Otherwise, he seems okay. Regardless, it is now your turn.
I want to open the trapdoor for Malia.
Roll for Arcana.
Damn it.
So you reach down to grab the handle of the door and zap, the thing shocks you. And in so doing, does 4 points of damage. But it is still your turn. And are you down to 6 HP?
Yeah.
Damn, Cloud really fucked you.
Yeah.
If you do lay on hands, you will lose your chance to attack, which you are flanking this guy still.
You know what? I'm going to hit him, and I'll also be using Divine Smite.
Oh, nice. Okay, do it up.
Fuck.
That's rough.
Oh, wait, do I do it again because I'm flanking?
Oh, yeah, you get 2 rolls.
I totally forgot, even though we just said.
It's because the pressure is on, right?
I'm a goober. That was worse.
Oh man.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so I guess your Divine Smite won't come into play here anyways.
No.
So yeah, you pull back to attack the thing. Man, that cloud has knocked you off your feet a little bit. Not literally, but definitely you feel a little worse for wear. Unfortunately, you don't find an opportunity to hit it.
Damn.
It is now the flying fiend's turn. He's going to fly 20 feet away from you, and he is going to flick his tail at you, and a spine comes out, pulling towards you, pings off of your armor, and ricochets into the floorboards, but it erupts into flame. He's also going to throw his pitchfork, leaving him weaponless. I guess these things have to hit eventually. It does 2 points of damage.
My God.
So you're down to 4, but you're still alive.
I didn't hear no bell.
It's now Jazz's turn. He's gonna go for the guy in between the two of you, abusing that flank.
Come on, Jazz, you got this. You got this.
Holy shit.
Let's go. That's a crit.
Yeah.
I believed in you, Jazz, and you did it.
Kind of wish he would have hit the other guy instead with that kind of roll. Yeah.
A minute.
So let's see. He does a lot of damage.
Hey, that's still some damage.
He does 18 points of damage.
Fuck, that's still good.
So he swipes his sword, cleaving the creature straight down the middle. You see radiant energy pulsate through the creature, each of the creature's halves as he's sectioned straight down the middle. The radiant energy sizzles through the creature's body, basically burning it to cinders as he flops over. Pile of ashen goop, definitely dead.
I'm gonna give Jazz 2 thumbs up.
Yep. Jazz is just like, about damn time. And then he's actually gonna not disengage, but fly around so that he is now basically in between you and the flying creature, within striking range of both. The captain he pulls a giant glaive off of his back and slides it in between the helm and crack, slams it into the floorboards where it's now keeping the helm steady, basically. And he's going to run over and he grabs a bell over here and starts dinging it, which leaves you a little bit worried. Regardless, that is his turn. The blob creature is now going to flank Jazz and attempt to attack him. And he's going to hit. But luckily for Jazz, he doesn't do a lot of damage. He just bites onto Jazz's boot. He does manage to break through and do a bit of damage. Jazz is not doing too badly. It is now your turn. So Jazz is left. He's basically left you in a prime position to flank either of these creatures.
I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my flail away, but still have my shield, and use my javelin to stab the head of the blob thing over the rail.
You pierce the creature as its head wobbles back and forth. It's almost as if your javelin is being pulled with each motion of the creature as it's sticking out of its head, but you yank it back. A burst of blood comes out with it, but the creature's still alive. That was your turn. It is now the flying creature again. It doesn't have a weapon anymore, so it is going to try to attack Jazz with its tail.
Okay.
And that's going to miss, but it's going to follow through with a bite attack, which will hit. It'll do a decent bite into Jazz, but nevertheless, Jazz doesn't seem to be slowing down. It is now Jazz again. He's going to attack the one behind him. The previous one, he cleaved in two down the middle. This one, he does a horizontal slash, cleaving it straight across the belly. And similarly, the radiant energy fluctuates through the horizontal slice, radiating through the creature as it burns it to a crisp. And this thing, that gross smelling aura is now gone as it flops over dead in a pile of ash and cinders. But that is Jazz's turn. You really pulled through with those last two attacks. The captain here is continuing to ring the bell. You hear thud, thud. There is a big shaking underneath you as something slams against the grates in the middle right there. Otherwise, you take a moment with one less creature on the battlefield. You take a moment to check your surroundings and you see there is an air battle going on above you. You see if you remember the goblin brigantine, it is flying above, and it is actually ramming another brig that is it's not too far from where you guys are. I'd say about 200 feet northwest of you.
Right, yeah.
The Goblin City ship. This thing is roughly from tip to stern. It is like 4 times the length of one of the brigs. Equally, it's about 4 times as wide. It is very big, and it just rams into one of these things, which you see erupt into a ball of smoke as it starts plummeting to the ground below. And the ship just keeps on going. It's actually surprisingly fast. Up above you, you also see that big devilish creature flapping its wings, and it breathes in to release a ball of flame, which it exhales downwards. And flying up through the fire, you see a winged creature that it seems to be attacking. But that creature looks something like this. And you do see somebody riding on its back, but you can't quite make out who it is. Those two are sparring as they fly further away from you to the point of being obscured by smoke. But regardless, with all that going on, it is now your turn again.
I want to try to just shove the javelin in the slit of the trapdoor and just try to budge it open.
Do another Arcana check.
Probably gonna be where I go unconscious. Fucking hell.
Bad news and good news. First of all, the bad news is you fail to break through whatever's causing this thing to stay sealed. Good news is using the spear keeps you from taking damage, but you do see the spearhead of the javelin sparking as you try to break through whatever is keeping this trapdoor shut. But you can still, we'll say that was a bonus action. You can still use the rest of your turn to move and attack if you would like to. Yeah, sure. You can try again.
Hey, finally.
So surprisingly, it still doesn't work. The thing zips and zaps. You do make a little bit of progress, but your spear nevertheless does get repelled back. You could roll an insight check if you would like to at this point. As you're attempting to make your way through this thing, you can't help but wonder if maybe somebody who's proficient in arcane arts of some kind, like a wizard or an artificer, something of that nature, would be needed to use their expertise to dispel whatever spell is keeping this shut. But basically, the knowledge you get out of your insight is there is a spell that needs to be dispelled in order to break through there. But you can still move.
I am going to help out Jazz and move behind the flying fiend.
So you do that.
If anything happens, he can help.
And now it is the creature's turn. He realizes you're harder to hit because he's been trying to attack you a lot. So he's going to continue trying to hit Jazz. And he first attacks with his tail. And that does actually both attacks miss. So his tail slides off of Jazz's half plate, and his bite attack similarly can't break through the armor. Jazz just smirks as he looks at you and gives you a wink as you know what's going to happen next. And he's going to hit.
Hey, he hits though. He hits.
He is going to hit, and he slashes this time diagonally across the creature from its shoulder blade to its lower extremity, similarly sectioning this creature, and the radiant energy ripples through it as the creature flops over onto the ground, dead. The captain now, he is going to go back up the steps and return to the helm, pulling his glaive out, regaining control over the ship. As he starts to turn the helm around, or starts to turn it clockwise, the ship is now rotating. It was headed west, and it's now facing north. The tip is facing north. And from underneath you, you hear the banging against the grates continue. The grates open up with a large hand, an armor-clad hand covered in, well, it's a red plated glove. A creature stands up out of the lower deck, takes a step onto the battlefield, and it's going to roll for initiative. Luckily, it gets a bad roll.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, so he crawls out. Actually, that's too big. He's 3 squares across. Okay, he crawls out, and this thing is coated in a heavy armor, erupting in flame, a red armor with black detailing and etching. You feel a sense of ominous fear. Nevertheless, you're going to keep on trucking, as it were, as this creature joins the battle.
I am going to disengage and go back to the trapdoor.
What will you do? Are you going to keep trying to open it?
Yeah, with my javelin. Actually, I'm going to heal myself.
That's probably a good idea, actually.
I'm going to use the last bit of my lay on hands.
So you had 5 left of that?
Yeah, so I'll be at 9.
So you are back up to 9. Roll your Arcana check.
Fuck. Right.
FYI, your 17 was close, but just
I know.
Not quite there.
Yeah.
This is pretty much as hard of a roll as you could get.
Oh, yeah.
But it is possible. Nevertheless, did you want to end there? Or?
Is the big guy trapped in that little area?
He's actually standing on the deck now. Sorry, he got up out of that area and climbed on the deck and closed the grate behind him. But I guess I should also say what he has. He's holding a big, giant club that's burning with flame.
Oh, fuck. Are they cannons stationary or can we move them?
They are chained down, but you can't rotate them around. Well, you could try to break the chains. That would require really good rolls. Right. Also, I think just logistically, you don't have any more actions this turn, and it would probably be 2 turns. But you do still have quite a bit of movement. Like your wings are still functioning as well, so you can pretty much fly anywhere on the map you want.
I do have an idea. I'm going to fly onto the most bottom beam that is attached to the mast.
Yeah, we'll say you're on the beam. That one, we'll say, is about 20 or 25 feet above the deck. The creature in front of you is actually taller than that. So you're like...
I was counting on it.
Yeah, you're shoulder to shoulder with him, but his head is maybe close to the same size as you.
Perfect.
So that kind of gives you a painting of what you're looking at.
Perfect.
So I guess that's everything for this turn?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Jazz is actually going to go. He's going to flank this thing to set you up for whatever you wanted to do here. And he is going to try to attack it. He's going to miss, unfortunately. This guy, we're going to skip the captain's turn because the captain's still steering the ship. Actually, no, sorry. The captain continues maneuvering the ship. So it is now maneuvering into a northeastern heading. It's pointing northeast. As you can gather it's trying to turn around. So you don't necessarily know what's going on with the battle in the sky around you, but whatever's happening is causing this guy to decide he has to turn around. So it is now the big guy. He's going to attack both of you. So he's going to take one swing at Jazz. He actually gets 2 attacks. I don't know if you saw that modifier. He misses Jazz. He misses Jazz. Oof. But he crits on you. Okay, I have an idea. I still want you to do what you wanted to do. So there's a high likelihood you're going to go unconscious, but we'll say, well, we'll see what happens. Okay. So good news. He doesn't kill you, but you are disabled. However, I want to see you do or try to do whatever you were going to do. So we'll say with your last conscious breaths, you will have the opportunity to enact your plan.
My plan was to make him hit me so that he destroys the mast.
Okay, and
damages part of the ship.
Right. Okay.
That's what. So like me getting hit, I was like, perfect. Doesn't destroy like half of the ship.
Yeah. So that's awesome. He splinters through the mast while doing so. In so doing, you get flung over here to the right of the creature, and you are now prone there. Make a death saving throw. Okay, sweet. So you are flickering in and out of consciousness, but you do feel like you're starting to stabilize. Nevertheless, it's Jazz's turn. As you blink in and out of consciousness, Jazz runs over to your side in between the cannons where you're laying prone. You see him pull a ring off of his finger and he tucks it into the space in between your cloak. Actually, no, we'll say he slides it onto your finger and he stabilizes you. He's going to use all of his lay on hands charges. And he looks at you and nods and says, brace yourself, as he pulls a pendant out from underneath his armor, looks at the creature, holds out his hand in front of it and says, enough. Suddenly the air around him expands in a bubble, which unfortunately is going to damage you again, but you won't die. Oh man, that's as bad as it could have been.
Damn it, Jazz, but okay.
You feel a force of radiant energy push you as you go flying, like you're flinging off of the side of the ship. But you see the big guy also goes flinging. And as it does so, you see chunks of his armor flying off as he flies over the guard railings. And you do too. We're actually going to change your view for this. As you're blinking in and out of consciousness, all around you, down at the ground below, the brigantine that got rammed by the Goblin City ship is smoking in a pile of rubble where the other shipyard was that didn't get damaged. You see the flying creature and the other big bad evil guy fighting up above. You notice this big guy plummeting down to the ground and vanishes beneath the building line. All of these little things are skiffs flying by. You start to fall, and as you do so, this skiff goes underneath you, and you crash into its hull, and you will take a little bit of falling damage, but you're still alive.
I'm just unconscious.
Yeah. So you're at minus 13. You look around you. And you actually, as you fade out of consciousness, you see some creatures that, not unlike yourself, are of a stony disposition with a fiendish appearance. They have bat-like wings. All around you, you see the skiffs and the remaining brigantines are heading. These things are all heading to the east. And that is where you lose consciousness. Your surroundings fade to black. Basically, what you just experienced was a session we have called the Battle of Windswept. And that was your part in that while you were away from the other party members. We're actually going to do a little bit of an epilogue at this point. We're going to go backwards in time about 15 minutes. So there is a giant snake on the battlefield by the central shore of Windswept Port Town. As chaos ensues around, a giant snake is constricting around one of the amphibious creatures that so many of you have battled already. And with each breath, the snake constricts a little bit tighter until life begins to fade out of the creature's eyes. Tommy, you are the snake. What do you do?
I suppose they just keep looking around and trying to find some answers as to what's happening in the situation.
Ever constricting tighter and tighter. So you are roughly here. you look down that pathway towards the beach, and what you see Sije, the friend you have known for the last 7 years, running along the beach with that human girl and that elf you met earlier. They're running up towards this area. You also see your companion Jazz fending off monsters over here, along with another female dark elf who you kind of recognize, and you wonder if she is somebody from your past. But anyways, that's all going on over there.
I slither up to them, and then once I realize everything's safe, I start to detransform.
You start to make your way over there. You see Jazz turning, and he's making his way past the shipyard here as the beach is now quelled of any enemies, while the other dark elf runs down this alley as you are making the corner. Which direction would you like to go from there?
Follow Jazz, I suppose.
As you pass by this shipyard here, you notice the whole thing is burning, creaking, and you begin to transform out of your snake form, where it is revealed that you are indeed Eza, this guy. And as you kind of come back to your normal mental faculties, crack! A beam falls down and knocks you unconscious.
Well, that was a great choice.
While you're out, you don't have any dreams, but you do start to come to, and you're feeling rather groggy, but you find yourself on the beach, come to by one of these beams here. As you look around, you see that the battle is over, and it's daytime. The battlefield which you saw your friends fighting on earlier.
Oh gosh. Oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, this was the battle from 2 sessions ago, right?
Yeah.
Gosh, when you said 15 minutes ago, it
was 15 minutes ago. But now, so you were knocked unconscious, and when you came to, it is now it is now daylight, and the battle that you had with your characters, Norin, Sije, and Kate, that battle is long gone. Before you on the beach, you actually see a lot of drag marks and blood in the sand. You do remember before you were knocked unconscious, there were bodies, but they seem to have been dragged away. But otherwise, you stand to your feet and look around. Actually, roll a perception check.
Ooh.
You dust the sand off of your greaves, and you hear a familiar voice.
Oh, blasted airship, need some pieces.
But it seems to be coming from the west of where you are.
Who is that? Somebody alive still?
So you make your way walking out from the beam, and you can hear the grumbling coming from some crates in the wreckage of the building, roughly over here.
Hello, is there anybody there?
Hey, what's that?
The creature making the noises jumps up on one of the crates, and he's holding a 2x4 and smacking it into his empty hand, rather.
Hey, who's over there?
No need. Calm down. No need to be on alert. What on earth happened here?
Oh, wait, it's you, the snake boy.
He jumps down into the sand.
We thought you were dead.
Yeah, so did I there for a minute.
Well, as it happens, you've missed everything. There was a big flaming evil bad guy, and all of us, me and a bunch of the other other adventurers and your companions, we defeated the thing, and then we got together in the tavern, and, we started an adventurers guild.
Adventurers guild? Who was all part of this?
Bird Brain, what's his name? As he's trying to remember the name of the Aarakocra companion, Oris flies into the area next to Pitgazer. He clears his throat, clears his beak, one may say. All right, gnome, what next?
This guy. Yeah, whatever his name is.
He kind of blinks. Oris. And the Aarakocra looks across the beach at you, actually yells out loud, realizing you're far away. Oris. So, how do you react?
Just staring back and just trying to gather everything that happened. And so tell me more about this Adventurers Guild. Who's all a part of this? What happened? Where is everybody?
Yes. I suppose I joined it, and this guy here, and there was a couple humans, an Azamar lady, a wood elf, dark elf with a pretty badass samurai sword. Let's see, who else? I think there was a very tall, androgynous-looking high elf.
Wait, 1 second. Samurai sword. Tell me more about this person.
She was a female dark elf, exceedingly attractive, I might say. But she seemed overly confident and exceedingly impressed with this, with this hobgoblin fellow.
Did you happen to catch a name?
The Aarakocra now butts in. Her name was Alisaria Salix.
When I hear that name, I take a step back, try not to make it obvious for any reaction. So all of this group, they headed in one direction?
Yes, well, me and Birdbrain here, we decided to stay behind because somebody has to help me with the repairs for my airship. But that dark elf went off with the high elf fellow, Oris Butson, Carol Dreampetal Zillaru. That was his name. And they took off on the creature. Well, it was Carol's mount, a flying creature that I've never seen the likes of which, and well, I'm a flying creature myself, so it was quite astounding, one might say. But they flew off on that creature, while all the others took the Goblin City ship, just as day broke, as a matter of fact.
Can you tell me which direction they went again? I think I might need to... Is there any way to join this guild? Thinking of the samurai person, thinking of everyone in different directions, maybe trying to just get involved as much as possible. I quickly think, how does one become a part of this adventurers guild?
Yes, well, we can't go after them until the airship is fixed. All the other airships on the island were destroyed in the attack, unfortunately.
We're still here.
Yes, so that's why me and Birdbrain here decided to stay behind to repair my airship. Well, the others went off to the west, back to the Horns, where they were following the attackers. As for joining the guild, I don't know if any of us is high enough rank in the guild or what have you, but maybe you could go to the tavern and ask old barkeep over there, the big surly fellow. Oh gosh, I'm so bad with names. Oris pats Pit Gazer on the head. His name was Talus Mallory. He was the innkeeper here in Windswept.
Well, I think I'll have to go check that out and follow them.
As you part ways, you start making your way down the beach. We'll go back to now the ruined town map. Basically, in the attack, the shipyards were totally destroyed. The armory was destroyed. All the airships in the port were destroyed, except Pit Gazer's ship it was the second largest ship, and it's actually salvageable, which is why they're staying behind to repair it. And the windmill over here was damaged as well. As Ezza makes his way onto the quayside wharf here, he notices one of the infernal brigantines is wrecked and partially sticking out of the westernmost shipyard. But regardless, it does seem as if a bunch of townspeople are salvaging the wreckage and also piling up bodies of some of the attackers. One can imagine they might bury in a mass grave, maybe even throw off the edge of the island into the abyss. As you make your way around the corner, make a perception check. You kind of scan the wreckage as you make your way through the destroyed portion of the city. To the south, you squint and you see a dorsal fin circling around something out in the bay, but it is big. The fin seems to be almost human height. You kind of just shake your head and you're like, I have some interesting creatures outside of the always dock. And you make your way down the wharf towards the tavern, where you actually go into the tavern, but...
Looks like a wild time, man. Wild time.
The tavern is full of injured townspeople and adventurers. People are putting makeshift slings on them. You see Talus sitting at the bar. He's smacking an envelope on the table as he kind of looks around the room, kind of gauging what's going on. But you make your way into the building. What do you do?
Walk straight up to him, just trying to find more information, more answers.
He looks over his shoulder at you. Well met. Are you here to help with the injured visitors?
More curious what they are, and I hear they formed some sort of guild. Can you tell me more about this?
Yes. He considers the letter in his hand. As a matter of fact, one of the adventurers was my young friend, Kate McAreedy. And, she handed me this letter to take to her parents, but, I've got my hands full here and I don't want to leave any of these people unattended to, and this is the only inn in town. And he gestures around at townspeople who you see in slings and with bandages on their heads. But otherwise, they all, they were headed towards the Always Dock to chase after the attackers. and recapture some of the captured townspeople and visitors that, suffice to say, they were taken during the battle and ferried off to those blasted infernal ships. As he mentions this, you can't help but wonder. You notice Pitgazer didn't list any of your companions in the Watchers when he mentioned who was part of the Adventurers Guild. You actually don't know what happened to them.
I just keep persisting and asking him to tell me who is in this guild and is there any way I can join?
He clears his throat. Well, it's, I suppose it's Carol Zillaru's determination who joins. I just hosted them for the meeting. Yes, Carol was the creator of this guild. One dark elf named Alisaria Salix joined, as well as Drakneg the hobgoblin, that wood elf, what was his name again? He starts snapping his fingers. Norin. Yes, Norin and his companion Adi.
I hear the guy is weird.
Yes, well, I don't judge ranging folk and all that. Am I right?
Indeed, those rangers.
Then there was as I already said, my longtime young companion, Kate McReady, and her childhood friend, Virgil Vizelbill. At the mention of Vizelbill, you recognize that last name to be the same as your companion Malia's last name.
Can you tell me which direction he went? I think I need to have a word with them.
Well, they all boarded the Goblin City ship and headed off to the west.
All right, well, do you know any ships that are going near? Well, where is the ship that's being repaired? I think it's time I head over there.
The ship being repaired is out in the port. Basically, Pitgazer, the Deep Gnome, and Oris the Erekokra off repairing that. But it seems a little worse for wear. It may be quite some time until they've fully repaired it.
It seems they may need a hand. I may just go see how they're doing.
He clears his throat. Hey, I have an idea. And he holds out the letter that he mentioned Kate wanted delivered to her parents. There are many young working lads at the McReady farm. Perhaps you could get some of them to assist in the repairs as well, and at the same time deliver this letter.
Okay, give me the letter. A little bit impatient to do that, but he's a little bit more curious but to find out more of his adventures.
Talus can see that you're rolling your eyes. Ezza is he's a noble. He's very obsessed with himself, one might say, and his own machinations. But you do see Ezza does see the merits to his argument. And you think, well, if we can get a couple more able-bodied men to help with the airship repairs, maybe we can figure out what happened and chase down that dark elf while we're at it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So you snatch the envelope out of his hand. Do you have any remarks as you do so?
Turn around and sort of half-ass say thanks for the help as I walk and just kind of wave the letter over my shoulder.
You hear him shout back, "Anytime!" And he sort of mumbles, "What a friendly young man."
Now I feel bad.
Ezza leaves. As you are making your way north out of Windswept Town along it's a quiet countryside road. Eventually, I don't know how you know the way to the McReady farm, but somehow you just instinctually know where to go. So you make your way to the McReady farmstead, and as you do so, you see a young man. Well, you don't know his age, but he's particularly tall, and he seems to be handling a pitchfork and loading up bales of hay. But he has red hair. He's particularly tall, but he is also young, regardless. As you approach the farm, you see him plant his pitchfork down into the grass, and he looks over across the farmstead at you. You're dressed like a warrior, and this guy is a farm boy. You make your way towards him, and is there anything you want to do say as you do so?
I just slowly walk up and just make a slight little whistle as I'm walking up to catch his attention, not really sensing any sort of danger.
So as you do so, you actually see another young boy get up from underneath a tree nearby. You notice that he is reading a book, but he looks less farm capable. He looks like this in any case, and he walks towards you, joining with who you assume to be his brother, and you approach the first guy that you noticed, and he just nods towards you with a kind of a discerning look on his face, like he's not quite sure what you're doing there, and he doesn't say anything.
Boy, what are your guys' names over here?
The second boy says, "I'm Jason, and this is my brother Dalton."
Dalton, and I kind of wave my hand, kind of like I'm reaching for more information.
Dalton crosses his arms and kind of gives you the once-over. Dalton McReady.
I slowly pull out the notes and I look at it and I kind of look them up and down. McReady, you said.
Dalton grabs the letter out of your hand and you see him start to scan through it. And the look on his face changes as he shows his brother the letter as well. While Jason is reading over the letter, Dalton looks over his shoulder back at the farmstead. You can do another perception check at this point.
16. Oh, wow.
Okay, cool.
I love this die.
So you kind of try to get an idea of what Dalton is looking for, and you see that he's kind of scanning around the farmstead to see if there's anybody else. You're not particularly sure why. Is there anything you want to say or do at this point in time?
Care to share what was in that letter?
He looks back at you with a concerned grimace. 2 of my siblings were captured. My oldest sister went off to try to recover them. Hold on a sec. Were you in a battle at Windswept Town?
I was, yes.
He just kind of shakes his head, a little taken aback. There was a battle at Windswept Town?
Yeah, quite a massive one too, might I add.
Jason looks up from the letter. Now he has kind of a weird look on his face. There's no evil on the Cloudsea, though. There's only... How could there be a battle? Wait a sec. Did people die?
There's to gauge my words a little bit more carefully and realizing I've been a little bit harsh and seeing the pain within them. I just say, yes, it's not something we've seen in quite some time. It was rather unexpected and there was some loss of life.
You see Dalton snatch the letter out of Jason's hand and stuffs it into his pocket. Can't tell mom and dad about this. Jason is kind of taken aback. You want to interject at this point?
I'm still just curious what's in the letter. I'm still trying to piece together. So I'm trying to piece together in my head of what's been happening, what happened when I got knocked out. The thoughts of this adventure club that seems to have joined that I seem to really need to get into. I sort of impatiently, but also trying caringly to ask, like, so would you mind caring to share with me what was in that letter? I couldn't have made it through, but I did. But I woke up much later after this had all taken place.
He kind of looks around. He's like, just hold on a sec. He runs off back to the homestead behind, and you're kind of just tapping your foot as Jason kind of awkwardly smiles at you, and he looks at the sword at your hilt. That's a pretty cool looking... Is that a katana?
It is, very much. I'm glad you like it.
Well, I'm not sure if I wouldn't say necessarily that I like it, but, well, it is kind of cool. He's looking at you kind of with starry-eyed glow. But before long, a few minutes pass, and Dalton, you hear the door creak open from the homestead, and Dalton comes through, yanking a rucksack over the back of his shoulder, and he runs up to you guys, and he just clears his throat. Okay, I told Mom that we have to go to town to help Kate. Jason is kind of a little bit surprised. He looks at you. Can you take us to whoever gave you this letter? And he pulls the crumpled letter out of his pocket. Well, he hands it to you. I guess it doesn't hurt if you read this as well. So you quickly scan over the letter and you see that basically it's Kate saying that she has to go off to do some stuff with her younger brother and sister, Theo and Thea. By the way, nobody's going to expect you to remember all these siblings.
So many of them. As long as it's not Billy, we're good.
Yeah. But that a lot of stuff happened. There was a battle and some people got together and started an adventurers guild. Basically the heroes of the battle. Kate had to go off to help rescue her younger sister, or her 2 younger sisters who got captured. While you're reading over it, you kind of look over at Dalton, who looks back at the homestead, and he just kind of whispers, my parents can't know what's in this letter.
Not really trying to get involved with any parental squabbles. Like, all right, then we should probably get going then, shouldn't we?
You two and you and Dalton start to make your way. Jason kind of shouts out, hey, what about me? Dalton looks over his shoulder. Well, you can come if you want. Nobody's saying you can't. So Jason kind of looks around and shrugs. Before long, he follows behind you guys. That is, we will close things off.
I was just saying, I'm not trying to babysit a bunch, so I'm really keeping in mind this ability to turn into a snake in the back of my head,
Yeah. Yeah,
they seem okay. They seem nice.
They're good kids. But in any case, that is where we will wrap the session up. Any closing thoughts between you guys?
I am personally just getting kind of hyper-focused and also trying not to make it very trying to learn more about these people while trying to remain in the shadows as much as possible, but getting frustrated because I can't seem to break through without being fairly obvious.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was a good connect the dots kind of session. But yeah, that will conclude this session. And we will touch base with when we can get back. This officially ends the first story arc of this campaign for everybody.
Oh, for everybody.
So,
Chapter 2, eh?
Yep, Sije was left out of the ending for you guys, but basically it's the Battle of Windswept is over, and you guys are now embarking on something different.
Nice.
Windswept didn't do very good, did it?
It's seen better days.
Will I get a long rest?
We'll get to that at the next session.
I'm kidding.
So with that, I will bid you guys goodbye, and yeah, we'll figure out when we're gonna get together next. Bye bye, guys.
Have a wonderful night. Bye.
Yeah.